Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another album review, and this time we're looking again at Slade, and it's in the series, the vinyl issue series from BMG, which started with Slade Alive, which I've covered on this channel a couple of times already. Slade in Flame, what a great film that is. Slade and Old, New, Borrowed and Blue. Fantastic reissues, all in splatter vinyl. And this one, Sladest, is no different. So let's have a quick look at the album itself. So here we go, Sladest from 1973. So this is the next in my series of looking at these new vinyl issues from BMG. And Sladest was a #1 album. Includes the smash hits, Come On Feel the Noize, Coz I Luv You, Mama We're All Crazy Now, and a lot more than that. And this contains transparent blue, black and white splatter vinyl. The original album was a gatefold. This isn't a gatefold, but I don't think it matters. It doesn't bother me. The main thing is that the original gatefold came with a booklet, and this comes with that booklet. And it's a fantastic reproduction. It really is. It's album LP size, and it's exactly as it was on the original vinyl album. So you can go back to 1973 and just indulge. And if you're younger, you can still go back to 1973 and try and soak up some of the atmosphere that was brought up by this album and this band. And I'll just show you the vinyl, shall I, while I'm here, because I think it is, of all the splatter vinyl ones, this I think is one of the most gorgeous. The track listings is different than what it says on the album, which might confuse some younger viewers. So that may appear to be side 1 and side 2, but it actually isn't. It just lists all the tracks as they are, but it's a beautiful piece, and I played it, and the pressing is really good. And you've got to remember that at the time Slade were essentially a singles band, a bit like we live in the age now of Spotify, where people release tracks. Slade were already doing that back then, and this was an album that basically scooped up all of their recent hits, and also some of their kind of deeper cuts from the earlier albums. So the absolute, the tracks are just fantastic. Anyway, I'll talk about it a bit more now. So there you have it. Sladest out now on splatter vinyl. It may not be gatefold sleeve, but that booklet is still intact. And this is a great album. It's almost like a greatest hits. In fact, it is. But at the time, I didn't realise that was how it had come together. I remember back in 1973, bear with me, everybody, but I was listening to Hello by Status Quo, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. I was going away from the period in my life when I just bought singles. I bought singles by The Sweet, I bought singles by T-Rex, I bought singles by obviously Slade. And Slade were my favourite band at that time for singles, but like a lot of kids at school, I was being pulled more towards serious rock, progressive rock and stuff. And Slade was starting to change. About 1974, they started to move towards ballads. And young Phil didn't do ballads that well then. I just liked the guitars. And so there was a feeling that obviously had my friend Stan and Every Day and everything. It wasn't for years later. I remember, I think I was still an apprentice electrician. I think it was about 1979, and I heard Every Day come on the radio. And I'd forgotten all about it. And I heard Noddy sing that chorus, and I thought, wow, what a voice. And it started to kindle a feeling back towards Slade. And then I went to the Reading Festival in 1980, and it was 3 days of heavy metal. I love heavy metal, me. But after 3 days of hearing one band after the other tell me to go crazy and clap my hands and all the rest of it, I was beginning to feel like, anyone got any ballads? And Ozzy Osbourne was supposed to be on, and he cancelled at the last minute, and the replacement band was Slade, who I just felt had disappeared. And Slade came on, and they were a breath of fresh air. They were absolutely stunning. Poor Def Leppard, who tried to follow them. But it was just stunning, and I bought the EP, and you've seen me to review the little box set with the live albums, etc. And then in the 80s I was a fan again and went to see them Birmingham when they did their Christmas gigs. So my appreciation for Slade, and I bought the Salvo CD remasters, etc., and the box set, which I'll cover another video. But this, you know, is just fantastic. The track listing is pretty random compared with the way that they play actually on the record. But it was, look, how can I put this? Nowadays, we're very used to, you know, pop acts releasing just tracks, just singles, rather than albums. And in fact, there's a whole raft of artists who feel it's better to just release tracks rather than do albums, you know, because of streaming. Back in the early 70s, Slade were already doing that. So they had hit single after hit single after hit single. And obviously the powers that be, probably Chas Chandler, decided maybe they should scoop them all up and put an album out. And that's what this was. And that's why it reads like the perfect Slade party album. And, you know, you've got Coz I Luv You, Get Down, Get With It. Oh, what a track. I remember Get Down, Get With It. When I heard that, I loved it. My older cousin at the time said, "Oh, Phil, we don't go near Slade. They're a skinhead band." But by the time I found them, they'd grown their hair and they didn't seem like a skinhead band. I just loved it. I just love how they spelt the words, the misspellings. So my English teacher at school, you know, wound up my mum and dad. And it's just the way it was. It was fun. You know, Look What You've Done, Take Me Bak Ome. I think Take Me Bak Ome could be my favourite Slade track ever, and I've done a Patreon only video just on that track actually. Gudbuy T'Jane, I'm more crazy now. Look What You Dun last night, Come I Feel the Noize, and Skweeze Me, Pleeze Me, which is probably the pinnacle of them doing that kind of like football terrace anthems, as you like, before they started to move into the ballads, which of course, as we know, the two ballads on here are probably two of the best ballads ever written in the history of popular rock music. Anyway, we're talking about this, aren't we? But it really is superb, and I'm very pleased to have it, and I'm really pleased since I've been doing these Slade videos, and the amount of comments I get on these particular videos itself. I've really started to listen to a lot of Slade and really appreciate the band, and it's made me remember a lot of the times and how much I loved the music, etc. And it's made me reappreciate it. And the other thing that's amazing is for a band that hasn't been active for so long, just how popular this band is. You know, the Facebook page, Slade is not just for Christmas. It's a very busy page. You know, it's full of, you know, just love, an outpouring of love towards this band. You know, Noddy Holder, he's such a great character, and you can't start Christmas until Noddy says so. It's the law. Everyone should know that. So thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe and ring that little bell, and so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I will be covering the Slade CD box set in a future video. And if you want to become a patron and support me even further, the links are below in the description to this video. But thank you very much to Clive, to Chris, to Andy and Yogi, and all my patrons and supporters, wherever you may be. Stay safe, keep playing this music. Music is the healer, and I shall see you on my next video.